Hi, welcome again. In the previous session, uh, we're learning we're learning how heaven is not a destination but is a lifestyle. We we also uh, we also learned that everything has a spirit in it, or was basically a spirit first, and then God commanded it into whichever form it is, living or non-living, physical or spiritual. It was a spirit first, and then when God commanded it into whichever form it is, the spiritual part, the spirit, the being spirit part is still in it, in everything that is living or non-living, physical or spiritual. It's still a spirit. It was a spirit first, and then God commanded it into whichever form it is, and now that God commanded it by faith or through faith to become in whichever form it is. And in the same breath, we also discovered that that very faith is Jesus Christ. When God is love, Jesus Christ is actually faith. And we proved that in several readings, how Jesus Christ is faith. Now, this faith is the power to command everything. You see, this faith, by through this faith, everything was commanded from spirit to whichever form. So, the same faith, through it, everything can be commanded again, because that faith is the power that commands now everything spiritual. Now, by Jesus Christ having you having faith in you is an extension of Jesus Christ in you, and is trying to give you that power to command everything else, because everything is spirit, has spirit in it, was spirit before, and therefore it makes you a branch into Jesus Christ. A branch is a branch of a tree, is a tree anyway. So if Jesus Christ can command, then the faith in you can command as well. Only you'll use your mouth and your voice, so you'll speak, and that command is faith, and so it commands everything. And so Jesus Christ being a branch in you gives you the power to command, and that's trying to elevate you to his very status, trying to make you an equivalent to him, so that you'll rule together. And that's the process as we have been explaining eternal life and living together with God. And that's why Jesus Christ wants you to understand it's to understand him and to understand God. And that is eternal life. As he has explained in John chapter 17, verse 1 through 3, I can read without looking here or in a Bible, and I can read. Missing words is not a problem, but basically what I read is what is. John chapter 17, verse 1 through 3. This is what it reads. Father, the hour has come. Jesus Christ speaking to God. They say, Father, the hour has come. Glorify your Son as he has glorified you among men, as you gave him authority over all the flesh, that he might give them eternal life. You see, we said eternal life, the kingdom and heaven are one and the same. As you gave him authority over all flesh, that he might give them eternal life. Verse 3 is the important part and the context. It says, and this is eternal life, that they may know you, the only true living God, and Jesus Christ whom you sent. So knowledge of Jesus Christ and knowledge of God is eternal life, is heaven, is eternity, is the kingdom, you see. So that makes it a lifestyle. You can have it here on earth, although this earth will be swept away anyway later on. And a new heaven and a new earth would come. But you have to acquire the lifestyle first. You have to get in heaven first. You have to learn the ticket of being in heaven, which is faith. And that's why it was written in Isaiah 9:6 that unto us a son is given, unto us a child is born. Among all this, it goes on to say, and the kingdom of The kingdom, the garment is on his shoulder. And we said, and that's why we went on to explain that the garment is the kingdom. The government is the kingdom. The kingdom is a government, not like the democracies we have, and we used examples of the English kingdom government of the late King, no, King Charles now, King Charles now, and we use that as an example. That explaining that lifestyle and the knowledge of God and heaven being a lifestyle prompted us to get to this session of explaining how Jesus Christ, God, knowledge of God, how Jesus Christ is the Son of God, the Son of Man, and still is God. So in today's session, that's what we are going to talk about. And here we go. God is many. God is a plural being. The name or identity God is a singular name used to explain a plural being. We used God is a system. We said God is a system, interconnected, many but interconnected and one. And we used an example. We said God is a system, and we used an example of a spider's web. God is like a spider's web, is interconnected. Whatever happens to the other end, the head here can still know what has been got on the other end. Cross over there and take it. That's if a spider is taking flies for food. So, and then we say this spider web, God being like a spider, he encompasses surrounds, encompasses the whole universe, not necessarily Earth alone, the whole universe as it is. And we explained how God is a system by looking at the book of Genesis chapter 1 verse 26. Genesis chapter 1 verse 26. They're trying to explain who God is and how He is many. Genesis chapter 1 verse 26. And this is what it reads. Genesis chapter 1 verse 26, and it says, "Then God said, let us make man in our image." Let us make man in our image. I read the whole verse and then I cut off the words to explain. God said, let us make man in our image, according to our likeness. Let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the air, over the cattle, over all earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps on earth. Now, God says, let us make man in our image. Our is plural. Let them. So man will also be plural. Man will not be an individual, a single entity, man, male or female. And then men keep saying, I am made in the image of God. You are not. You are not. Unless you are many, intertwined together, joined together by love, and you are a system, you are not the image of God. God said, our. In our image. One cannot be the image of many. So God is many, God is a plural being, and we can still prove the same thing in the same Genesis chapter 3 verse 20, was it 22 or 27? Genesis chapter 3 verse 22. Let's see what verse 22 says. Then the Lord said, we are still proving God is many. Then the Lord said, behold, the man has become like one of us. Man, the many, being together as many, they are still called man, have become like one of us. They have tried to acquire them. They are trying to be like us, to know good and evil. And now, like one of us, one but as trying to be a system together with us, to know good and evil. So we are trying to prove that God is many. He said, behold, man has become like one of us. So there are still many. They are still a system. Man is supposed to be a system of their own, and God a system of their own, just like in the likeness of God. But man is still trying to rise up and be like God, and to get clever and be like God, to cut man himself off and be like that system of God. God is supposed to be a system of their own. So God said, I'm trying to prove that God is many, like one of us. Beginning, he said, let us make man in our image, and now he says, let us. Man has tried to become like one of us. So God being a system, and we used a mosquito, a spider's web, or a net just to explain God, how he encompasses that. He can encompass, that gives him the ability of the omnipresence, being wherever he is. He's on the one end, and while he's in the other end. He's in Australia while he's in Africa. And I keep saying Africa is not a country, Africa is a continent. You know, the people of the US keep confusing. They think that being US being one country, the United States and then states are joined to be one country, Africa is also one country. No. And then they go on to learn that that South America is a continent that has countries. Why do you keep confusing Africa for a country? You say you are in Africa, South Africa. So Kenya is in Africa. Kenya is a country. Africa is a continent. And you being states, you're supposed to be like a continent, but you agree to be one. Okay, I'm not explaining that. That's a lesson in class, and your teachers are not competent. They're supposed to tell you that. You say you are in Africa. We went to Africa, and you think Africa is a country. Africa is a continent. It has several presidents. Each country has their own president. Sorry about that. Now, so God, that gives God the omnipotence of being in Australia. He's in Africa. I mean Kenya. Kenya is a country or part of Africa. Ethiopia is another country. Tanzania is another country. South Africa is a country, part of Africa. Okay? So that gives God the ability to be in the US and here in Africa, in Australia, in Canada, wherever. That being a system and that being many. And joined together that system the way it is by love, I think. So, God is a system, God is many. But of the so many abilities of God, God has the ability of if this paper was the whole of God that can compass the whole earth or universe, then God has, of the so many abilities, has the ability of breaking off a piece of himself, like this portion, and then still leaving the larger portion here. And this portion can change itself in whichever form and perform the functions that it needs. The same God needs. Now, this smaller piece becomes son to the larger piece. Okay? The smaller piece refers to the larger piece as father. So this smaller piece is son. Son in the spiritual realm has nothing to do with gender. Daughter or son. No. Son has nothing to do with gender in the spiritual realm. Son just means the smaller portion of the larger. So, and how do we prove that? And we shall prove it from ourselves, from man and God. And that was in Luke. That was in Luke. Where did I put my... Here. We choked, and we found that in Luke chapter 3. Was it Luke chapter 3? Luke. We are trying to find out now how God can still break off a piece of himself. And that we shall learn from the book of Luke chapter 3 and verse 38. Here, God is explaining the lineages of man for whichever reason. But I want to use this part to explain how God can break off a piece of himself. This is what it reads. The son of Enosh, God is speaking. Let's begin even from verse 37. God is mentioning about lineages. From that 7, the son of Methuselah, who is the son of Enoch, who is the son of Jared, who is the son of Mehalalel, who is the son of Canaan. And Canaan is the son of Enosh, who is the son of Seth, who is the son of Adam. But the final part, who is the son of God? Adam is the son of God. That's where the explanation is. So how is Adam the son of God? God took, to form man or to create man, God took earth and created it into this form of man. But for man to have life, God breathed into man. Now, God is a spirit and a spirit has life. A spirit gives life. A spirit is life. So when God breathed into man, he was giving man life. But that breathing into man was breaking off a piece of himself into man. That's what makes man son of Adam now. God broke off a piece of himself and put it into Adam to give Adam life. That's what makes Adam son of God. Why? There's a smaller piece of God in Adam, so that Adam, this soil, can breathe. This soil can have life. God has to break off a piece of himself and put it into man, this soil. Now, so this soil will have life now. So why does the soil become son of man, of God? Because the piece of God that he has breathed into man is breaking off a piece of himself and giving it, placing it into Adam, so that Adam can have life. Now you get the point of how God has the ability of breaking off a piece of himself and going and changing itself into another form. You see, now the spiritual being has broken off a piece of itself and placed it into the soil to give soil life. Okay, that makes now man. Adam is the son of God now. And then now, so from Adam, so many smaller pieces break. Adam has the ability. He has life, but he still has the ability of creating another life into himself. But so that God saw that in his wisdom, so that that was not nice or wise. So God decided that Adam is lonely. So to give to he took or he broke off, he put Adam to sleep, and then broke off a piece of Adam, described as the rib, stated as the rib, and then made a woman. So that part that was taken off is the part that is supposed to give flesh to a spirit. So in essence, woman is actually son to man. Why? Because when woman was broken off from man, so you see, it has nothing to do with gender. I mean, woman is the piece that was broken off from man. But that piece is still the part of man that can give another spirit flesh. That's why man always breaks off a piece of himself into woman, and then woman gives it flesh, and then it comes out as a child, is born. Okay? So, and then now God separated this system, took it out of of Adam alone, and then made another piece so that Adam can have a companion, yes, but the system is complete. Now, the system that can create another man was taken off from man. So, you see, I told you, son has nothing to do with gender. In other words, woman is son to man. Why? It's a smaller piece of man. Now, that's not what we are explaining. We're explaining how Jesus Christ is the Son of God. So, Jesus Christ broke himself as the Son of God, took another form now, took flesh. Actually, again, through woman, that part that can give the spirit flesh, when he broke himself off from God, he went into that part that can give the spirit flesh. That is woman. Woman who still broke off from man, who is also still son to man. So he took flesh in that part that can give the spirit flesh. So when he takes flesh, he comes out now. Here, Jesus stands. He was the Son of God because he's the smaller piece of God that broke himself from God. And we explain that by explaining how Adam is son of God. And that's how we found out how Jesus is son of God. He broke himself from God, just like God broke off a piece of himself into Adam and made Adam son of God. So Jesus is son of God because he broke himself off from God. He goes into woman, gets flesh, comes out, and now he is man. Why? Because he has flesh. Now, I'm not even going to keep reading everything here because so when now Jesus Christ has broken off, has taken flesh, he's son of God still because he broke off from God, but now he has taken flesh. What makes him now son of man? He has flesh. You see, for man to be in the image of God, we read earlier that let's make man in our image. Let them have. So God is many. So for man to be the image of God, they have to be many. That's why let them have dominion. It's them, not him, not her. It's let them have dominion. So that means man also becomes a system of here on earth, a physical system that can be seen by a naked eye. And that this physical system, Jesus Christ has broken off from God, come down, taken flesh, and now he's also a piece of man. But what makes him son of man is he's also one small piece of this system of man. Man is supposed to be a system intertwined together just like God, intertwined and joined together by love. So when Jesus stands aside alone as a single piece of this system of man, he is son. You see, he's still now, he has flesh, is a smaller piece of this larger system of man. That makes Jesus son of man. You are getting the point now. That's how Jesus Christ is the Son of God, the Son of Man. But Jesus Christ is God because Jesus Christ is still the one who can change himself and get himself out of this form of the body, physical body of man, and still get back to where he came from. Go back and join the same God that he broke himself off from. That's how Jesus Christ is the Son of Man, the Son of God, and still is God. You see, it has been very simple. I must keep repeating it. How Jesus Christ is the Son of God is because Jesus Christ broke himself off from God and took flesh. And at the part of man that can still give the spirit flesh, that is woman. That's the part of man that can give spirit flesh. And that part of man that can give spirit flesh was still taken out of man. This one man, the male, was taken out of him, Adam. And when it was taken out of him, it was completed. It was complete. God did not even have to breathe it into Eve because Adam had life already, complete, had life in him. Adam was walking. So when he takes off a piece of Adam, it has life just like the same Adam. So it doesn't need to breathe into Eve again. So Jesus Christ breaks off himself off from God, comes down, goes into that part of man that gives the spirit flesh, takes flesh, and now he becomes being a single part of the system of man, a broken off part of the system of man. He calls himself son of man, son of this system that has flesh, that is of earth, that is visible, that walks. And now Jesus Christ is the Son of Man. But why he is still God because he can still shed off this part, this flesh. He can shed it off. He can change himself in that form. Get out of this form of flesh and get back into the spirit and still be connected to the same web, the web that he broke himself off from. That's why Jesus Christ, he went up in heaven, yes. But that heaven, he brought it down again. That mystery is what we have been explaining all along, and we shall still keep explaining. That's why this channel is titled Unveiling Eternal Life. Eternal life, the kingdom and heaven are one and the same. It has been taking the veil of eternal life, demystifying, changing the mystery into something that can be understood. And this knowledge and these tricks, Satan and Lucifer has it. That's why Satan causes accidents using these metals, cars, and planes, and whatever. Because he understands these things as spirits. He was closer to God. He was the closest to God. He knows everything better than even I do, who is explaining it to you. He was closest to God. So he knows everything has spirit in it. Satan. That's why if you have watched movies, you have seen Satan in desert change himself into snake, crawl around, and then God changes himself into another form. He picked some tricks from God. Okay, and that's what we have been trying to save the world from, demystifying eternal life. And that's why it brought me to this position of after explaining why heaven is not a destination, but it is a lifestyle. I've now had to explain God again, who God is, because knowledge of God and knowledge of Jesus Christ, whom he sent, is eternal life. That's John chapter 17, verse 1 through 3. And that's why Jesus Christ, when he came down, the garment was on his shoulder. The garment is the kingdom, the garment is heaven, and the garment is eternal life. Ladies and gentlemen, we have been trying to demystify and to simplify things. Forget religiosity, forget theology, forget everything. We are trying to make you understand eternal life, understand salvation, understand being like God, and in the end, ruling together with God. And that's being in heaven. Till the next session when we explain more, because time is always important. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning.